If I offered you $1 million, but the only condition was that you had to stand under this tree for just 10 minutes, would you do it? Take a good look. It has green leaves. It grows on beautiful tropical beaches. Its fruit looks almost edible. There are no giant thorns, no snapping jaws, no glowing warning signs from nature. It looks like, well, just another tree. And that's exactly what makes it so terrifying. Because hidden behind this perfectly ordinary appearance is a reputation that has frightened explorers, locals, scientists, and tourists for centuries. Some people call it the little apple of death. Others simply call it the most dangerous tree on Earth. And once you understand why, you may never look at a tropical beach the same way again. Imagine you've been walking for hours. The sun is brutal. The sand is burning beneath your feet. Your water bottle is almost empty. Then finally, you see shade. A beautiful tree standing only a few meters away. You walk toward it. The breeze feels cooler. The leaves rustle gently above your head. Everything about the moment feels peaceful. Then someone nearby suddenly starts shouting, not because of a shark, not because of a snake, because of the tree. That sounds ridiculous. Until you realize you're standing beneath a Manchineel. The first strange thing about the Manchineel isn't its poison, it's its appearance. Nature usually gives us clues: bright colors, sharp spikes, large teeth, warning sounds. But the Manchineel ignores all of those rules. Its trunk looks ordinary. Its leaves look healthy. Its fruit looks inviting. If someone secretly placed one in a city park, most people would walk right past it without a second thought. Some might even sit beneath it for lunch. And that's exactly why local communities have spent generations warning people to stay away. In some places, the trunks are marked with bright warning paint. Signs are placed nearby. Not because the tree looks dangerous, but because it doesn't. Then there's the fruit. Small, green, round, almost innocent. From a distance, it could easily be mistaken for a tiny apple, which explains one of its oldest nicknames, the little apple of death. But here's what's fascinating. The danger isn't obvious at first. Imagine picking one up. It smells fresh. It looks perfectly normal. You take one bite. For a brief moment, nothing seems wrong. Then the burning begins. Not the kind of spicy heat you'd expect from hot food. A deep, intense pain that spreads through your mouth and throat. Swallowing becomes difficult. Every movement hurts. For some victims, even drinking water becomes agonizing. And suddenly, the beautiful beach around you no longer feels like paradise. It feels like a nightmare. One British tourist later described exactly that experience after accidentally tasting the fruit during a Caribbean holiday. The sweetness lasted only seconds. The pain lasted far longer. But here's the twist. If you're thinking, fine, just don't eat the fruit, you're still missing the real danger. Because the fruit isn't what makes this tree truly infamous. The real danger is something you can't even see, and it can be waiting on the leaves above your head. Which brings us to the part of the story that sounds so unbelievable. Most people assume it's an internet myth. It isn't. And once you hear it, you'll understand why locals don't just avoid eating this tree. Sometimes they won't even stand near it when it starts to rain. Rain usually makes people feel safer. If you're caught outside, your first instinct is simple. Find shelter. Find a roof. Find a tree. The problem is, the Manchineel tree turns that instinct against you. Imagine the clouds rolling in. The first few drops hit the sand. Tourists begin packing their bags. A family runs toward the nearest patch of shade. The rain gets heavier. Everyone squeezes under the tree, completely unaware of what's hanging just above their heads. Because hidden inside the bark, branches, leaves, and fruit is a thick, milky sap. It doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't glow. It doesn't smoke. It doesn't smell unusual. It just sits there, waiting. As rainwater flows across the leaves and branches, tiny amounts of that irritating sap can be carried downward. Suddenly, the shelter itself becomes part of the danger. That's one of the reasons local warnings are taken so seriously. To someone who doesn't know the tree, it still looks perfectly harmless. Now, imagine breaking off a small branch. Immediately, white sap begins dripping from the wound. You touch it with one finger. Nothing dramatic happens instantly. No explosion, no loud sound, no monster jumps out. Just a tiny drop of white liquid. Then your skin starts reacting. For many people, exposure can lead to severe irritation and blistering. And if that same sap reaches your eyes, the consequences can become far more serious, which is exactly why people who work around these trees often use protective equipment. At this point, you might be thinking, fine, I won't touch it. I won't stand under it. I definitely won't eat the fruit. Problem solved. Except there's another twist. Imagine someone decides to cut the tree down. The trunk falls. The branches are removed. The danger should be over, right? Not necessarily, because burning the wood can create smoke-containing irritating compounds. Historical reports have described severe eye irritation from exposure. Just think about that for a second. Fruit, sap, rain, smoke. One ordinary-looking tree with multiple layers of defense. And suddenly, a strange question starts to appear. Why? Why would evolution create something like this? The answer is actually surprisingly elegant. Plants can't run. They can't chase predators. They can't hide. They can't bite. So, over millions of years, they developed something else. Chemistry. Some plants evolved thorns. Some evolved poison. Some evolved toxins that discourage hungry animals. The Manchineel evolved one of the most infamous chemical defense systems in the natural world. It's not trying to hunt humans. It's not waiting for tourists. It has no intention, no plan, no intelligence. It's simply doing what evolution shaped it to do, making itself a very bad meal. And somehow, that survival strategy became terrifying enough to earn worldwide notoriety. Ironically, despite its fearsome reputation, the Manchineel still plays a role in its coastal ecosystem. Its roots help stabilize shorelines. Its presence contributes to the natural balance of the habitats where it grows. Nature rarely creates villains. It creates survivors. And sometimes, the traits that help one species survive happen to make life extremely unpleasant for another, especially when that other species is us. Nature doesn't hate you. It simply doesn't know you exist. By now, you might be wondering, has this tree actually killed people? The honest answer is more complicated than the internet would have you believe. You'll often see headlines calling the Manchineel the deadliest tree on Earth. And while it's certainly one of the most dangerous, nature isn't always that simple. Scientists are careful with words. Legends become stories. Stories become myths. And myths often become exaggerations. But here's what's truly remarkable. The real facts are already terrifying enough. There is no need to make them scarier. For hundreds of years, sailors and local communities have respected this tree. Spanish explorers even gave its fruit a memorable nickname, the Little Apple of Death, not because it looked frightening, but because it didn't. History is filled with examples of dangerous things disguised as harmless ones, and the Manchineel might be one of nature's greatest examples. Imagine discovering this tree for the first time. No warning signs, no internet, no guidebooks, just a beautiful beach, and a tree covered with inviting fruit. It's easy to understand how accidents happen. And once local communities understood the danger, they adapted. Knowledge became survival. Parents warned their children. Locals warned travelers. Entire generations learned one simple rule. Leave that tree alone. Even today, in some regions, warning signs stand beside Manchineel trees. Not because the tree is trying to attack anyone, but because humans are naturally curious. And curiosity can sometimes be dangerous. But here's something even stranger. Despite everything you've heard so far, the Manchineel isn't evil. It isn't malicious. It isn't hunting anyone. In fact, from the tree's perspective, humans don't matter at all. Everything it evolved exists for one purpose: protection. Its chemicals discourage animals from eating it. Its defenses increase its chances of surviving long enough to reproduce. That's it. No grand plan. No hidden intelligence. Just millions of years of evolution. And that idea changes the entire story. Because suddenly, the villain isn't the tree. It's our assumptions. We expect danger to look dangerous. We expect poison to come with bright colors. Sharp teeth, huge claws. A loud warning. But nature doesn't follow human expectations. Sometimes the greatest threat looks completely ordinary. Sometimes danger hides behind beauty. Sometimes survival creates things that seem almost unbelievable. And perhaps that's why the Manchineel continues to fascinate scientists and storytellers alike. Not because it's a monster, but because it's a perfect reminder that appearances mean absolutely nothing. Imagine returning to that same tropical beach one final time. The waves still roll onto the sand. The wind still moves through the leaves. Children still laugh nearby. Tourists still take photographs. The tree stands exactly where it always has. Silent, motionless, patient, completely unaware that people from all over the world fear it. And maybe that's the strangest part of this entire story. The Manchineel never changed. We did. The moment we understood what it really was. We stopped seeing a beautiful tree and started seeing one of nature's most extraordinary survival machines. The next time you walk through a forest or relax beneath the shade of a tree, remember something. Nature doesn't exist to comfort us. It doesn't exist to scare us either. It simply exists, following rules that were written millions of years before humans ever arrived. And sometimes those rules create something so strange that it almost feels impossible until you see it for yourself.